Don't tell me a beer and burger's £2.50 on a Wednesday in Spoons. Is it really £2.50? What's the meat? What's in that burger? Really makes you raise an eyebrow.
Maybe we should just go and have a beer and a burger someday, guys, and just go. We go to have a beer and a burger.
I think people. I think that would be surprisingly successful.
A mundane day in the life of an average British citizen.
Doing things that people do.
Being people again.
Welcome back to doing things that people do. We're in Weatherspoons having a £2.50 beer and a burger.
Oh, that would be doing the cheap runs of pubs nearby.
There's a pub in
KFC as well.
There's a pub in Chepstow where a pint of Ruddle's Best is £1.10.
Fuck.
£1.10.
That's cheap, isn't it?
That's shocking, isn't it? I mean, what's the average pint here? Over £4.50.
Yeah, probably. Wow, you really flew. Holy shit.
I really flew. How did I get so much air? Amazing. I overtook you in the air.
Flying's always faster.
It's well, yeah.
With Hooters Air.
Oh, don't go back to Hooters Air.
Sorry.
They
That's previous episode's conversation topic.
Yeah, it's really expensive to run an airline, apparently.
Turns out.
No matter how many buxom ladies you have on board, it doesn't work.
It doesn't actually sell tickets.
Are any of you pilots?
People just want to get to their destination. It's not about the novelty.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, because people would order like a cheapest flight and then end up on a Hooters Air, or whatever it is called. Like, I wasn't on this on it's a cheap flight. I'm just trying to get the flight, you know.
My left
I'm not trying to oogle ladies.
Was jammed. I couldn't actually shoot for a second there.
Oh.
I feel like I was sabotaged.
Excuses. I'm running with no tyres, mate.
You're running with no tyres?
Yeah, I'm driving with no tyres, and I'm still fairly competitive. Wow, I'm losing time desperately. Oh, he's still going for it. Let's get a better weapon out.
£4.50 a pint in Bristol, yeah. I mean, city centres.
More than that, really. It's like closer to £5. Well, it's average £5.
I don't remember the last time I bought a pint in a pub. In recent memory. Sit down and have a cold one. On a sticky table.
A sticky table.
I hope there isn't a mentalist at the bar that I have to deal with.
Let's flip some beer mats.
I love the ambience in here. You got somebody working behind the bar.
Just run
not getting paid enough.
I just got out of my car accidentally ploughed into my head
Jesus.
as I got out.
Brutal.
Yeah, it is brutal.
It's got a hell of a lead now. Because of that.
Steady.
Oh,
Steady.
I keep looking at...
What? You looking at chat?
Yes, I'm distracted.
You idiot! You're racing.
It's really good
You'd
stuff.
get pulled over if you did that. Oh, wow, we're all going together, are we?
Shooting backwards, yeah.
Punching down, are we? Fucking hell.
Yeah.
How dare you? I'm punching up. Get out of it. Bust his tyres. I did put catch-up mechanics on this. I don't know how they work. Is it just going to eventually put us next to Smith?
Catch-up mechanics?
Yeah. Because I figured we're never normally really that close to each other, so I'll just leave it on.
Maybe when you respawn.
See if you respawn now. Does that work or not?
Oh, I see. Maybe. I'm not going to respawn now.
It slows down first place, apparently. So you can't go at a certain speed.
Okay. Let's make this thing competitive. Pull him back. If you feel suddenly a little bit sluggish, it's because I'm catching up to you, beesh.
I watched, I've already mentioned this, but Foundation, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, you're enjoying it. How much are you through, though? You've
just one episode.
First episode, just the one?
Just the one.
That's rookie numbers, mate. Rookie numbers.
Pretty rookie numbers.
There's 10 of those episodes, mate.
Yeah, I know there is.
I think there's 10.
Which is quite generous for a streaming series.
Yeah.
You don't often get 10.
No. The Squid Game is 9, almost 10.
That's true.
But why would you ever watch Squid Game when you can watch MrBeast make a YouTube video about it?
Yeah, my God. The tweets about it saying Squid Game took 7 years to make and it got this many views. And then MrBeast does that overnight. It's well, it wouldn't exist without the Squid Game.
It's strange people arguing that fact. It's just he just used their IP and that's fine. That's loads of people do that stuff, and we did it. We used we called ours. What do we call ours?
Salmon Game.
Salmon Game, of course, and there was Crab Game, the actual game.
Yeah.
Everyone has ripped off that IP. But to compare the viewing figures to the original series, which is a high quality cinematic series, to this kind of just
not to mention there's a paywall in order to access it. Everyone was paying, all of those millions of people were paying $4.99 plus a month.
Plus, wow, I think it's like a bit more than that now. But yeah,
because YouTube's free.
Very odd. But stupid arguments all over the place on the internet, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, you can't pay attention to him for too long, otherwise we'll all go bloody mad.
I'm not denying the pull that MrBeast has and the viewership.
No, of course not. It's huge. I mean, 103 million is impressive.
It's
of course it is.
Insane.
100 million.
It's also a little weird that the whole thing's sponsored by a mobile game.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing, is obviously no one dies in his version, of course, but they're all still desperately clambering for the money, just like the people in the show. I mean,
yeah, I'm not sure I like the format.
It's just a game show, though, but still.
I mean, it definitely gets people clicking because people like seeing money being thrown around.
Of course, yeah, of course. You know,
I just find it a little bit like dystopic.
Ooh, I really killed that person.
It's like last person to stay alive touching this car wins 10,000.
Person holding my penis wins.
So you're watching people suffer. Like, how much will you suffer for this money, basically? And we get to watch you do it.
But those are his original content. If those were on Netflix, they wouldn't go anywhere near as well. So he's got the monopoly on counting, up to 100,000 in one sitting.
Fuck off! Yeah!
Shit! Fuck. Whoa, I wouldn't hear a negative word against MrBeast. He's not bland. He is a great personality. He's doing good things, though. I think that's the most impressive thing about it, is that he doesn't pocket all that cash for himself. There's no way he's making a profit.
Yeah, I mean...
Wow, he might be making a small profit, but...
It's impressive the empire he's grown from nothing.
Yeah. Well, from just, literally...
I'm not sure I agree with it.
Watching Jake Paul videos, wasn't it? There was one video where you just watched Jake Paul videos 100,000 times or something like that. Or 10 hours.
And the whole thing's been like human endurance, essentially. Starting off with him, and now he's making other people do it for money.
He should do an Everest climb. I mean, I don't know if that's a good idea.
I think he should try and make his own rocket.
Yeah.
Everybody else is making rockets. I think, well, we try and make our own. I ride the rocket we made into space. I want to see that. That's the only time I'll be impressed with anything he does.
There's also
I'm impressed with his charity stuff, to be fair. Like, I think that's quite impressive. Like the trying to clean the ocean, even though it's quite futile. It's good that he's doing it.
Yeah.
It's just a big fucking task.
It's good. But I kind of agree with Dr. Simon Clark in that, the
Doctor,
you're pointing people at the wrong part of it, which is like cleaning up the waste that's already been made rather than stopping the waste in the first place. But I guess it's not as glamorous to...
I think that's a political element, though, isn't it? That's something that you don't really have as much
to attack that,
grasp on, to just tell all these governments to actually pull their finger out and stop profiting from...
But it's like cleaning up the ocean and what they're planning to, hopefully, like a pound...
Ooh, that's choppy.
...does a pound. And the amount they've raised so far is literally a drop in the ocean of cleaning up the waste. There's so much more generated in the same month than will be cleaned up. It's depressing.
But, I mean...
I'm sideways.
Not as depressing as that.
I'm trying to stay on. I'm sliding down. I'm dead. This is gone. Goodness gracious.
It's also, I guess you could also argue that mentality of I donated to Team C's, therefore my work is done.
Job done, is
a bad kind of way of thinking about things.
Everyone needs to take their own boats. Take your own boat.
Yeah, but then what work? I mean,
what
you're
can
right,
we do?
Trot.
Right.
What the fuck can we? I mean, really,
what an individual do.
We've talked about all this stuff a lot, and they just call me a bit of a nihilist these days. I just don't think there's very much an individual can actually do.
Well, it's big corporations, isn't it? That's the real crux of it, and that's the hardest thing to break through to.
And also, like, corporations are sort of product of culture, or the success of a corporation, or the success of a person, or a success of a channel is all just a reflection of the current culture.
Yeah.
And culture is influenced by variables that we both control and cannot control, all elements of, from finance to education to art. It's incredibly complicated, and I feel like sometimes you just sort of the more you look, the more all there is to find, I suppose.
Oh, you guys fluffed it up again. Fluffing up left, right, and centre. Stop fluffing. Oh, almost. You got me.
Just gotta pray it unfucks itself. I don't know.
It won't unfuck
Look,
itself.
the ozone layer
No, I don't think it will.
Well, I think we stopped using CFCs, but that ozone layer is getting smaller again.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
shrinking.
It's healing up.
Yeah, it's healing up. If we can do that, let's do the other stuff, probably.
Well, yeah.
Okay, and
It's probably not
but us three have to do it. Just us three.
We bring back the hole in the ozone layer. We missed it.
Yeah, and capital punishment. For some reason, that gets thrown in there as well.
All right.
It's been thrown into the treaty as well. It's all in there. We'll only do this if you bring back capital punishment. We just really, really love it. One of us gets off on it. We all get off on it.
Is that where you like slap and tickle,
Bloody love
but
capital
you use caps lock?
Yeah, you're
all
mainly
caps lock.
doing stuff with large letters.
Yeah. Like a big A.
Yeah, rude.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you understood. And you just hit someone with a big A. Like a novelty wipeout session. No, capital punishment is pretty fucked up. I think if they brought it back, I would only go to 1 or 2 before I was sick of it.
You think so? Or would you become desensitized? Like, looking at Red Dead, for example, which is a historically
you mean
accurate...
public execution then, not necessarily... Because capital punishment could just be...
All of them.
Like...
all the big ones.
But like
illegally
most
allowing
people
to
can't
smack people.
attend an execution in the US unless they're directly related to the case somehow. Like, you can't just turn... It's not like a public gallery.
Is there any tickets going?
I don't know. I think there's a small... that's for the family members, isn't it?
I think capital punishment is wrong until we can prove without a doubt somebody did something, which I think is almost impossible to do. I think the reason, if there's even one innocent person on death row, then it doesn't work.
No,
like we have no right to take away the life of a person.
Yeah.
God, I mean that as well, just in general, if you like.
Yeah.
But then again, honestly, I mean, as you know, I used to be very much against capital punishment.
Now you're waving the big banner, the big flag for it.
In the interest of balance, ultimately, before a person poo-poos capital punishment, they need to also work out a way to rehabilitate a person that has done terrible, terrible things to people, children, God knows what. You know, like. It's all very well to say we shouldn't kill people, but what do we do with them? I know that's not necessarily our job. That's why we pay our taxes for other people to work these things out. But ultimately, when you walk through Broadmead shopping centre and there's all the homeless people, all of the drug addicts, all of the people having to sleep in beds on the side of the fucking road, like, what is our actual answer to that? Do we just chuck money at the situation? We have places like that in Bristol, but
I'm pretty sure MrBeast will get to it. Give him time.
It's just like, I mean, perhaps it's just, sorry, it's not particularly funny or entertaining, but I guess if you really want to critically think about it, it is important to think about, like, well, how would you change it? What would you do? Because people don't just change overnight. You don't just give them a nice house, give them a job, give them purpose, like all these things. Even if you were able to do that, like, they're not suddenly going to change. They're still going to have all of the learned behaviors, all the things that their fucked up life has done to them. And you only have so much time. So what do you do?
I feel like we're still.
This is where witchcraft and magic comes into play. I've got voodoo dolls of all the homeless people nearby, and I'm always putting them in like a little dollhouse.
Yeah, I think all of these problems came in when we started becoming a bit more atheist. We need to be a God-fearing country again, and therefore we can, tighten the reins on everybody by making them worry that their lives are forfeit, going to hell for all their sins. That worked a lot better, didn't it?
Yeah. It's interesting you say
I mean, it's a simpler, more generalistic approach, definitely. I mean, also, it makes the rest of society okay with what they're doing to segments of society, right? Like, that's why all of these things exist. Like, that's what essentially culture is, and that's how crime and punishment is influenced. It's like, what are the general population okay with? Once upon a time, we were okay going to executions and watching them.
You say that. I mean, recently there was some footage of fishermen stopping an RNLI boat from saving people from drowning. Crossing, migrants crossing. And essentially they're just saying, let them die. Those people deserve to die because they're trying to get a better life for themselves. That's where what people are willing to do. That's rough. That's really rough.
But is it any surprise though?
Standing there with their thumbs down, like a.
Are you surprised by it, really? Though
I'm not surprised, no. Especially with the current climate and what we've learned.
I saw that as well. The person videoing it was just like, "What a twat," and I just felt like that was a very British summarization of that whole scene. Of just like almost this sort of exhaustion.
Yeah, it's also quite a disassociative like statement. Of like,
it is,
what a twat. That's like, you can say what a twat for someone like taking the wrong turn rather than like choosing for someone to die.
But these fish blocked them from getting out and saving lives. It's just like, that's so fucked up. You've literally been the blockade.
I think it reflects also that what a twat line is like. You're right, it is somewhat disassociative or an under summing up of what's going on there. But like, you know, that's kind of how you feel at the end of the day, because you're like, well, what the hell can I say? The reason that person who is shouting at the RNLI is doing that is because they've been brainwashed by some fucking paper, or they've had a shit life and they've chosen to blame that shit life on immigrants rather than a government or a taxation system that's made them poorer and made them worse off, you know? Like,
but easier to blame.
You can't expect people to know that. It's quite complicated. And all you can really do is go like, this guy's a twat.
And also if you approached him, if that guy's willing to say that stuff, you never know what they're going to do to you as well. It's just like like, it's just horrible to see.
Do you think Elon Musk has got it figured out?
No,
he's a cunt.
Elon Musk.
Well, bear with me.
Okay, go on. Yeah, there's a point.
Neuralink, this whole like magical implant in your brain, which is supposed to like fix mental health issues, make you feel happy when you want. Is that a solution where like if everyone wants to have that,
a quicker way to brainwash?
Well, yeah, obviously assume
remote controls in the population.
I'm doing this as a hypothetical.
I know.
But assume it works and everyone can be choosing the best emotions that they could possibly have. They don't need to be angry anymore. They can just like dial it back. They've got limits on like negative emotions. You know, that could fix a lot of like spur of the moment rash terrible decisions that are made, like that one for example, allows you to see reason, like boost your dopamine.
I guess the tricky part in those scenarios, obviously I know it's hypothetical, but whoever's making the decision to say what is right and wrong, that's the issue, is that there's someone at the helm saying what's right and wrong, and that's where it becomes complicated, because it's like, okay, well, they're all doing the right thing according to the one person who programmed them, but if the one person who programmed them wants them to, you know, start World War II.
Well, it's not necessarily about
World War III.
It's not necessarily them setting the parameters.
I hate to break it to you, Ross.
I know, it's already happened.
There was another World War.
I went to 2 in
Sorry, Charles. What were you going to say?
There's no one really. Well, I guess you could say there's someone in the programming sphere determining how much dopamine is required in order to increase this level of emotion. But ultimately, it's just about stabilizing the brain, right? So that negative mental illness can take over.
Right.
That's definitely.
If that's just,
I think that there's a difference between a form of sort of mental pacemaker that allows people to manage mental disorders or, you know, depression or whatever, and the more extreme example of, like, you know, just making you happy, just make, like, you know, absolutely, like Ross says, I think that there's a much bigger decision to be made there as to like what direction do we want us all to go in, because it could be a unifying thing, you know, like you say, it could be like makes everyone happy, makes people, when people are happy, they produce better results in general, be it, you know, from
less conflict,
anything from fertility to less crime, exactly, to better performance in work and sport, in their relationships. So there is loads and loads of upsides to looking at how to regulate happiness. But yeah, of course, there is the wider questions, definitely. But I think Elon Musk is doing interesting things, absolutely. But I don't like him at all.
No. I loathe the guy.
Yeah. And it's the age-old kind of like, you know, don't release this thing because it'll be used for evil, even though there are promising positive things. It's like, well, have you seen any Arcane yet?
No.
I'm not going to spoil the series, but like that element, that kind of thing is discussed as well, where it's just like, well, could it be used for good or evil?
Yeah.
You know, a nuclear weapon nuclear energies can be used for good, and, you know, an efficient energy source, but it can also demolish the entire world, and as we know it. So, Just depends on how you want to use these things.
That's the same with petrol, for example. You can put it in your car. It can heat your home with a generator. You can cover somebody in it and set them on fire. But then what prevents people from doing that? Keeping them happy, stopping them from being so upset that they feel the need to go and hurt somebody else. So, but I think
that's
the other
common
thing is
in the Western world, at least.
We are
attacks.
Yeah,
it'd be kind of.
We don't really know what makes people happy either. Like, you know, we don't fully understand. Like, just upping the amount of dopamine produced is essentially just doing the same thing that drugs do. You know, what does cause depression? At the moment, we think it's some form of serotonin issue a lot of the time, but we don't know that you know, it's actually quite difficult to measure levels of serotonin in a living brain.
Yeah, I was being quite generic with like.
No, it is an interesting thing to talk about, definitely. Yeah,
assume that they've figured that out, and that there's actually a certified. Yes, this fixes it, and we've got to the bottom of like why it's caused, and we can prevent it with this Neuralink.
Yeah, I would love that. You know, I think that there is definitely a place for like a pacemaker of the mind. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we need to study the mind more, though. I think that's where our problem lies.
The next great frontier, hopefully, if we can avoid blowing ourselves up.
Oh, that's why people become mass murderers. And we figured it out, and how to stop it. Anyway, congrats, Smith.
Hey, you did it.
Thank you.
Bloody did it.
Any final words?
Yeah, just get outside a bit, and you know that helps a bit, I suppose.
And out of your bubble.
Yeah. Maybe go outside with a warm hoodie on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice that's also a thing.
If you feel the need to get cozy or just to feel comfortable and look stylish, there's a brand new hoodie that should be out right now. I believe it's out on December 3rd.
Yeah. I hope it's not sold out by the time this video goes out.
Yeah, it might be sold out already.
If not, there's a mug.
Those who got it.
Get the mug.
There is a mug, and all this is available on freshmerch.fm, maybe /hatfilms. I'd try that, but if not, look for that and get yourself a mug. They're about 15 quid. They're not too expensive. But just check how well things are getting posted to your country if you're not in the UK, because we've gone and fucked ourselves here. See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great day.
Bye.